UFC 310 is set this weekend in Las Vegas. I'm going to go over a few of my picks for this card, all of the main card, and some fights on the prelims. Jumping right into it, we have Alexandre Pantoja going against being challenged by Kaya Sakura. I don't follow a lot of the promotions outside of UFC. I do watch some One Championship whenever they have fights on. PFL, I did watch the Ngannou fight, and Bellator, I watched some fights also, but I don't really follow any of those. And I know Kaya Sakura, he's coming from across seas. I wasn't really familiar with him, I'm going to be honest. I did go and watch a few highlights and one or two of his fights just to see his style. He is good, and he is going to be a good addition to the UFC roster. However, I am going with my boy Alexandre Pantoja. I'm just a fan of his. I am interested to see how Kaya Sakura does with the takedown defense. We're going to see how this plays out. I'm not going to lie, I am one of those people that feel like Steve Erceg got the best of Pantoja, but due to some home cooking, I mean, they were in Brazil. I did not believe they were going to let some newcomer from, from Australia come into Brazil and take the belt from Pantoja without getting a finish. So, but outside of that, Pantoja, I feel like he's been pretty consistent. He's beaten everybody, and he's good on the ground. He's relentless. He doesn't seem to get tired to the degree where he lays down and gives up. Even when he's tired, he seems like he can still get that takedown. He can still fight you. We'll also see if Kaya Sakura can get up after being taken down so many times as well. So next we have Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Machado Gary. So I know that a lot of people are going to be leaning towards Shavkat, and for good reason. Shavkat, he is not only undefeated, but he has all finishes. I mean, he does not even go to a decision. And the guy seems like just a wrecking ball when it comes to getting people into the positions that he wants, finish you with with strikes or with submissions. I'm not saying that I'm gonna go with Ian Gary. Fuck it. I believe that if Ian Gary can stay out of the submissions of Shavkat, that he can win this fight. I think that he can go in there with the striking, with the striking game plan, get in there, and maybe not finish Shavkat, but if he can stay out of the submissions, if he can stay out of the wrestling aspect, if he can keep Shavkat at bay somehow, we're gonna see. I know that this will turn into a wrestling match, and Shavkat is gonna try to submit him. And I'm gonna be real, I can see Shavkat submitting Ian Gary. I do believe that Shavkat is going to submit Ian Gary, but I'm gonna roll with Ian Gary just because he's the underdog, and I want to see somebody knock out Shavkat. Not because I'm a Shavkat hater, I'm not, but I just want to see somebody finish this dude. So I'm going with Ian Gary, and I'm gonna say that if Ian Gary wins, it's probably gonna be by some sort of TKO or maybe even knockout. Now, moving right along, Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov. So, Volkov looked pretty good with his last few fights, especially the one against Sergey Pavlovich. He really did his thing, and he exposed Sergey because Sergey was looking like a beast up until he got beat by Tom Aspinall, the beast of the heavyweight division. But that's going to be determined hopefully by next year when we have John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. But anyhow, Cyril Gane, I'm having doubts with Cyril Gane. I'm not gonna lie, and this is definitely going to be a striking match. Cyril Gane definitely faster than Volkov, but Volkov, he has the reach, and I think Volkov has the technical skill to at least give at least give Cyril Gane's stand-up at least some challenge, not really get too impressed with the footwork of Cyril Gane. And Cyril Gane is not, he's also not really like a one-punch knockout artist like, say, Derek Lewis, who knocked out Volkov even though he was losing the fight and stuff like that. So I believe that Volkov is going to get this win either by, more than likely it's going to be by decision. He's going to win maybe 3 rounds, 2 rounds to 1, something like that. But he could also submit him, because I'm sure that the John Jones submission of Cyril Gane gave people an idea of where Cyril Gane's weakness is at, and that's clearly with his ground game. So I wouldn't be surprised if Alexander Volkov comes out with some sort of striking game plan at first, and then when he sees the opening, or if the opening comes up, maybe they end up on the ground somehow, Alexander Volkov goes for a submission and maybe gets it. Moving now to Bryce Mitchell and Kron Gracie. I'm going with Bryce Mitchell, even though I'm going to be real, I'm not that excited about this fight. But I'm just going to go with Bryce Mitchell, purely on the fact that I think he's due for a win. I do still think he has the heart to win. I know he's had a rough little run of things in the last few fights, but I think he's going to get in there and win. I don't really see Kron Gracie beating him. I mean, could happen, of course, but I'm rolling with Bryce Mitchell. And then we have Nate Landwehr and Doo-Ho Choi. I know that name, but I'm rolling with Landwehr just because he's a dog and he never says quit, never says surrender. He gets hurt and he seems like he's going to lose, and then he comes back and he submits the person. And I can see that happening again for Nate Landwehr. Now, moving on to the prelims, Dominic Reyes versus Anthony Smith. Come on. I mean, if you're rolling with Anthony Smith at this point, what is wrong with you, all right? Dominic Reyes is back. I can't remember the last person he fought, but he did beat the person, and he looks really good doing it. He's going to style on Anthony Smith. I would bet on that. He's going to finish Anthony Smith. I would also bet on that. It's going to be some sort of vicious knockout or TKO in either the second round, possibly even the third. But I think the second round, Dominic Reyes is going to get the finish. Vicente Luque versus Themba Gorimbo. And I've seen this dude fight. Let me tell you, it's hard to say how good someone's going to be when they come in early and they beat a few of the guys that are not ranked, and we look and we say, oh man, this guy's going to be something. I said that with Ilia Topuria, and I was right. From the first fight that I saw Ilia have in the octagon, I said, this guy's going to go far. And he did. He became champ. Anyhow, this guy, Themba Gorimbo. Now, again, Vicente Luque, kind of on the back end of his fighting. He's not fighting so hard anymore. I mean, the last fight, it kind of looked like he even just laid down to a degree. But he's still dangerous. I wouldn't put it past him to win. But I'm going to go with Themba. I'm just going to ride with the prospect, the newer guy, kind of pushing the older guy on out the door. Maybe one more fight after this for Vicente, unless he wins. If he wins, and he could, Vicente definitely could knock him out, but also get some sort of submission. But I'm thinking that Themba is going to get the TKO over Vicente, maybe second or third round. And then Aljamain versus Movsar Evloev. This is going to be a good one for the grappling. People who don't mind seeing grappling and wrestling, this should be good. Now, who do I think is going to win? I don't know. I can't even lie. I don't really know. Aljamain, I'm leaning more towards Aljamain just because of all of his credentials, what he's done in the octagon, how he became champ, and he's really good with the wrestling. But Movsar Evloev is also really good, and he's showing a lot of potential. The only thing is he's not that exciting. So I think this is a good challenge for Movsar. We'll see how he deals with Aljamain's wrestling, and also we'll see how Aljamain deals with his. If I had to make a pick, I'm not gonna lie, I'm rolling with Movsar. I think Movsar is going to maybe get the decision win over Aljamain, but let's see what happens. But my pick is gonna be Movsar by decision. And Randy Brown versus Bryan Battle. This is one that I'm looking forward to. Bryan Battle has really, he's shown himself to be tough. And he has like when they went over there to France, and I forget who it was that he beat, but he really shut the crowd up, had on his gold chains and everything. I like Bryan Battle, man. Bryan Battle, he's down to get in there and fight and talk trash. Seems like he'll fight anybody. He just fought, I mean, not long ago, it was a couple months ago when that fight happened. And now he's back in here fighting rude boy Randy Brown. And I like Randy Brown too. We're going to see what happens. I can see Randy Brown winning this fight by decision. And if it does not go to decision, I'm going to have to say that if it doesn't go to decision, I'm picking Bryan Battle to win by maybe a TKO. But decision win, I'm going with Randy Brown. I know that's not really a pick. If I had to pick one person, if I had to say that I was going to bet on someone for this fight, I would bet on, drum roll please, Randy Brown. I just believe that Randy Brown is not going to be, he can be caught. He has been caught in the past, and that's why I feel like he could be finished inside of the 3 rounds. And if the fight gets finished, I think it's going to be Bryan Battle finishing Randy Brown. But I'm believing that Randy Brown is going to do his little fancy footwork and all that little stuff he likes to do when he's in the ring. Fancy stuff. And for the most part, I think he will try to be safe. And he's really quick. Hits hard enough. I don't know if he's going to hit hard enough to knock out or finish Bryan Battle. But I do believe that if it remains standing the whole time, Randy Brown is going to have a slight bit of an edge and squeak it out by decision. But we shall see. I wouldn't be surprised if Bryan Battle wins. And I actually might be happy because I like to see people that are coming up and that are winning back-to-back. They just move right through the ranks so they can get to some really challenging opponents. Randy Brown, if he wins this fight, I don't think it's gonna do a whole lot for him moving towards a title fight. And I don't see Randy Brown ever really becoming champ. Not that I can necessarily say that I see Bryan Battle becoming champ, but you never know. He's more of an up-and-comer, and I like to see the up-and-comers rise through the ranks and do their thing. Again, though, I'm going to say if I had to bet, I would bet on Randy Brown, even though I would not bet on this fight because it's so close. Those are the fights that I wanted to talk about, and so those are my picks for this fight, for this fight card 310. Thank you for coming back to the video. To my channel rather, and watching my video. Drop me a subscribe on the channel. Okay, like the video, drop a comment, let me know what you think about my picks. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Anything you want to say, go ahead and say it. Let's get the conversation started, and let's see what happens after this fight card. I will more than likely come back and do a review of my picks to see how well I did, and then we can talk about that also. And until the next time, I will see you all soon.